Trump says he wants to control the Panama Canal. He wants the control back in the US. He wants to buy Greenland from Denmark. Will he be successful in doing this? Why does Trump want to make literally every other North American nation as part of the US? Uh, Trump wants to annex Canada. He calls Canada the 51st state of the US. He calls Justin Trudeau the governor of the great state of Canada. He has now sent a proposal to Denmark for Greenland, and he plans to take over Panama, the Panama Canal. What is Mr. Trump thinking? See, Mr. Trump is a businessman, first and foremost. His entire life, he has been a businessman, and he sees the world in business terms. So I think he wants to make some acquisitions for his company, for the United States. And so what will the US gain, let's say, by acquiring Greenland, by acquiring control of the Panama Canal, by taking over Canada? Will it be a headache or a net positive, net benefit for the US? It depends. Taking control of the Panama Canal is obviously it's one of the most important strategic choke points in the world. In case you don't know where that is, the Panama Canal, let's dive deep into it very quickly. It's this canal that connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. Okay, this is where it exists, and it's a pretty narrow canal. And before this canal was built, if you were in a ship and you want to travel from the Atlantic to the Pacific or vice versa, you had to go all the way down south, and you had to navigate across Cape Horn, which is one of the most dreaded passages in the world. This is Parque Nacional Cabo de Hornos, National Park, Cape Horn. Extremely rough seas over here, extremely stormy weather, and very, very perilous voyages if you want to navigate the Cape of Horn. So the Panama Canal has made life so much easier, and a tremendous amount of shipping transits through that. So if the US takes control of it, look, Panama is an American nation, as in it is part of the Americas. It's in Central America, and every nation in the Americas is, what's the V word? The vassal word, right? It's a vassal of the US. They are all controlled explicitly or not by the US, and they will not do anything that goes against the interests of the US. And that's something the Americans have striven to establish for a very long time, and they've established it long ago, more than a century ago, the Monroe Doctrine. So, so as it is, the Panama Canal is kind of under US control indirectly, but let's say the Americans take control of it, then they will get more direct control of it. When it comes to Canada, the US spends a lot of money every year sustaining Canada and giving all kinds of aid and so on, looking after Canada's territorial defense and whatnot. So if the US takes Canada over, I think it will be a net benefit for both nations. The Canadians will get a better government, a better system. Maybe will they become the 51st state, or will like a whole bunch of new states be added? That depends, and that remains to be seen. But the Canadians will get a better government, a more effective, efficient government. And the US will get a much larger territory. I think it could be a win-win for the US and Canada, for the people of Canada and the US. Greenland is rich in resources, natural resources, so makes sense for the US to acquire that. And if they really, really want to acquire it, there's nothing Denmark can do to stop the Americans. So President Trump is thinking in terms of acquisitions. He's thinking in terms of national interest. The only question is this going to be a net positive or negative? I think overall it could be a net positive. Obviously, the US bureaucracy and military will have to expand and take over these places and control these places and set up the systems of governance and all that. It will take some time. It's going to cost some money, not small amounts of money, but certainly can be done. The Americans know how to do it. So that's what is going on. It'll be an interesting 4 years when Mr. Trump is in power.